Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the New York Islanders and if their season is headed nowhere. So before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. Being said, let's get on into it. So the Islanders have been a pretty regular team when it comes to playoff appearances over the past 6 seasons, making it on 5 occasions, going to essentially the third round, Eastern Conference Final. 1 year is kind of weird in 2 of those times, and they obviously had big expectations after that, but I think in recent years the hype has kind of died down, especially looking at the past 3 seasons and seeing those results. They ended up failing to qualify 3 years ago. They were eliminated in the first round 2 years ago and then eliminated in the first round again last year. So this team just feels a little bit off. On top of that, last year they had more losses than wins, but were able to qualify for the playoffs with a lot of the loser points benefiting them, and it's just weird for them. But anyway, after 31 games, they have 31 points, and we're wondering exactly where this year will take them. And if I'm being honest right now, I don't think this year will take them to the playoffs. This team, after 39 wins, didn't really have my kind of trust to make it to the playoffs this year. And with that kind of being paired with some poor third period play, I think that kind of backs it up. A couple weeks ago, they were the third worst team when it came to third period goal differential in the league. I don't know exactly where that stands now because I couldn't find a truly up-to-date article, but I do know this. The other night they played the Chicago Blackhawks and had a 5-1 lead, and then allowed 3 goals in the final 9 minutes of that game and still won, but it was 5-4, and they've had some games where they probably lost the lead and ended up losing the game when they really shouldn't have. And I think for a team that is truly a playoff caliber side, you shouldn't be one of the worst teams in the NHL when it comes to the final frame of play. Granted, I think Boston is kind of in that category as well too, and they're floating around with a playoff picture, so I guess it doesn't hold true entirely. But for a team like New York, they're set to finish with about 30 or 31 wins, so they can't really afford to be having bad third periods. They need to be capitalizing on maybe a good first or second and try to close these out with wins, because this is a team that probably shouldn't rely on the loser's point either. And aside from their third period woes, we can look at special teams play and see just how abysmal it's been for them. They are probably the worst combined team when you factor in power play and PK. And you look at this and you see a team that is 31st in the league for power play percentage and dead last in the league for PK percentage. What's even more funny is this team was dead last in the league for PK percentage last year. And I truly don't know when or how long it's been since a team had the worst PK percentage in back-to-back years. And what's even more ironic here is this PK percentage would actually be lower this year than what it was last year. And I don't understand how you could do that back-to-back years, especially for a team that had some good PK units, prior to this. I don't know, but it's kind of just hard for the Islanders. Then you look at even strength and you say, well, maybe things level out there a little bit. Not necessarily. Things aren't perfect for them there. They allow a decent amount of goals when things are level, and they really are failing to score. I think one of the things that's not really promising here when you look at this team is the fact that their top 3 goal scorers at the moment are 33 and up. You're looking at guys like Anders Lee, Brock Nelson, and Kyle Palmieri. So take a bout of those guys. They are kind of leading the charge. Lee has been with this team for such a long time. Nelson, it seems like it's been a while too. Palmieri, honestly, has been for a bit, but they probably shouldn't be your leading goal scorers, even though it is kind of a fun storyline to watch out for there. Where exactly does Bo Horvat kind of fall in all this, considering his big contract? Well, he's got 8 goals in 31 games and may not even crack the 20-goal mark by the end of the year. That's problematic. What about a guy like Matt Barzal? Oh, well, he's been out with injuries for a while now, kind of been just a player that's not going to get a lot of games by the end of the year. I think he's only played 10 to date, so having a player that is capable of averaging a point per game or over, that has been one of your better players in recent years, or just for a while now, for being honest, is not a great look for a team that at times just kind of looks old and has been really, really bad. Again, special teams and in the third period. But I do have some good news if you're a fan of the Islanders. It looks like Barzal should be set to return relatively soon. Anthony Duclair could possibly return soon. And there was one other injured player that could be back here in the short term, which would be good. Much needed reinforcements for a side that is kind of treading water right now for the Islanders. But if you want to look at another positive too, they've won 3 out of their past 4 games. They just beat Chicago 5-4. Mind you, they had a nice, comfortable lead late into the third period, or at least decently late into the game. And they play Chicago in another back-to-back, which will be today, Sunday. At least I'm recording this on Thursday because they've got a busy weekend. But for the Islanders, you're hoping more goals with those added reinforcements, and then you can kind of continue on with good form as of late and just try to patch things up, especially on the PK. being worse back-to-back years is abysmal, although we'll probably point the finger of blame more towards the goalies in this time. That all being said, though, I don't think this team will go out to make the playoffs, even with guys like Barzal set to return. This team didn't feel like they should be there, and even if they did get there, they probably weren't going to advance. And this is kind of my problem with the Islanders at the moment, is they seem to want to try to play and make it into the playoffs, but they don't really feel like a team that's actually going to go out there and do anything once they make it. So for them, I'm just kind of wondering how things will go in the short term, and I do think it'll kind of be a hard season for them when all of this is all said and done, mainly because they'll probably be the worst team in the tri-state area. I know that may not seem like a big deal to us, but seeing some rivals like the Rangers especially and the New Jersey Devils make it into the playoffs while you have possibly your worst season in multiple years, it could be a little bit of a gut punch. They've got used to making it into the playoffs, and to miss out, have a really bad year, and to see some other teams make it in probably isn't what you would describe as a good year if you're a fan. Also saying, yeah, we had the worst PK percentage another year, and it's just a tough go of things for them. You also have the whole Patrick Wall incident, basically saying that I am using the team that I was given. I don't get that, and I'm not trying to say that he's taking a true dig at old Lou there, but it is a little bit weird because, again, coaches take these jobs knowing the rosters are going to get, and you should be aware of a lot of the situations with the cap and the draft and whatnot because you are taking charge of this team. So I won't say that I understand that, especially because the relationship is still relatively new in terms of the head coaching gig, because obviously you're seeing Wall not even be there for 2 full seasons. So we'll watch out for that because I think there could be a coaching change again. There's been a few before. So anyway, what are your thoughts on the New York Islanders for this year? Do you feel like this is going to be kind of a nowhere-headed season for them, kind of like me? Or do you think they'll be able to go out and make a surprise playoff appearance? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you love hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.